Okay, hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to the first live stream of visual communication. Yes, hello Danny.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing this
well,
morning?
I need to wake up first because it was early and
Yeah, it was a bit early. So as you can see, we have a really nice framing for you. We've made a nice studio for you guys. And we are in the Media Lab, and you guys will have class in this lab as well. Yeah, so my name is Marloes.
And I'm Danny, and this is Tools for Dummies, and we will be talking about infographics today.
Yes.
Because that's what you're going to make during this block, and we will teach you everything you need to know, starting with our scheme. Okay,
Yeah.
Please show us the scheme of how we will work during this block. So today, this is week 2. So we start with our live stream in which we will give you all all the things that you need to know to get a good start.
Yes.
And then after that you have 3 choices starting in week 3, because then there's a Media Lab workshop at a beginner's level, and that's for everyone who didn't quite understand what we will tell you today, or for the ones who need some extra help. And then we will repeat everything that we teach you today, and then at a beginner level, so you can do everything if you need some more help. Then after that, in week 4, you have the medium level workshop, which is for everyone who, does understand what we did today, but wants to learn a little more about Illustrator and some extra techniques to make your infographic nice and beautiful. And then after that, or if you understand everything and you can work perfectly fine and you want some extra, how do you say?
Yeah, extra tools to get you going.
And some advanced level
techniques.
Then you can come to the week 5 Media Lab workshop advanced level, and then we will have a nice exercise. We will show you in a while what that is.
Yeah.
But of course, you're also free to come to all of them. But it's just to give you an idea of what to expect. And if you think, well, I'm quite good at this after seeing this live stream, then choose to come to week 4 or week 5. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yes, and this subject is a little bit different than the other subjects you get because first of all, we're working with workshops. And we have 2 classes at the same time. So in your schedule, you can also see that you're scheduled together with another class. Mm-hmm. But we have 2 teachers at the same time as well. So in the workshop, we get to work right away.
Yeah.
And some of us is always walking around in class to help you going. So that's why we also give you a choice to come to a workshop, to a medium workshop, if you think the beginner level, I got that now, because we are with 2 classes. And if we are with 2 classes together, sometimes you get,
it's a bit crowded.
It's a bit crowded.
And you have to wait for help. So based on our experience, we chose to do it like this.
Yes.
So the workshops are especially for just working with Illustrator. And today is more of a theory-based thing. And then, so you know the backgrounds of the infographics and what you need to do for your final assignment. And then in the workshops, you don't really get theory. That's just practicing with Illustrator, with some exercise that we have made for you.
Yeah, and so this schedule, we're going to do this every block. So every block at the beginning, you have a live stream with the theory and the basic things you need to know. And afterwards, we're working with 3 or 4 workshops. And in the end, in the last 2 weeks, you can just walk into the Media Lab and we can help you and give you some feedback. That's also with 2 teachers.
Yeah, that's what you see in week 6 and 7. And at the end of week 7, you hand in your final assignment. So it's also very well possible that after today you think, well, okay, I get this, I can just make my infographic, and then I come in week 6 and 7 for feedback or some help, and then we we'll see you then. So it's up to you. It's your choice. So it's not mandatory to participate in every workshop. It's your choice.
Yeah.
It's your level.
And we don't take you by the hands. We expect, because we're in higher education, you have to study, you have to practice in these programs to get better at it. So it's also your own responsibility to have a good end result in your infographic, because you have to spend some time in the programs we work with.
Yeah. That also means searching for extra tutorials yourself. So this is just the basis. But if you want to do some extra things, just go to YouTube, just go to Google, search how to make an infographic, how to make a graph pie, how to make diagrams, and you will find lots of tutorials that will help you through this. And that's the last thing. If you have any questions about working in Illustrator, please take them with you to the workshops, because unfortunately we don't have the time to explain things over the email. We did that in the past, but we came to the conclusion that it doesn't work.
No.
It's too difficult, it's too much time. So please save your questions for the workshops and or the feedback sessions at the end of the blog.
Yes, so let's take a look at the student guide then.
Yeah, the student guide.
And by the way, if you have any questions, we have like a bar. Yes, so you can just comment in the chat, and we will try to answer your questions during the live stream at some point. So feel free to ask a question if you want to.
I need to switch to my Word now. Oh well, Acrobat is okay as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the Visual Communication Student Guide. The guide we made, we built from the ground up this year again, and it will tell you everything you need to know. There's also a lot of frequently asked questions in there. So please take a look at this first and just read it through. It's not that much.
No.
But yeah, you will need everything, you will get everything you need to know for a good start, as it says over here. So first you have the frequently asked questions, things like what I'm going to learn and how does the block work. So here you see the scheme again that we just showed you. And also how to get Creative Cloud. So if you did not already install Creative Cloud, here is the 2 steps that you need to take. Well, it's a few steps, but it's essentially 1, buy an Adobe Creative Cloud voucher at SurfSpot, because then it will be for cheaper than normally.
Yep.
And 2, the steps to download and install the Creative Cloud, so you can afterwards install Illustrator as well, or all the other apps that you already might take a look at.
Yeah, and make sure you download it before next week if you want to come to the beginner workshop, because we're going to get to work right away.
Yeah, we can't install the apps during the lessons.
No, it's quite easy, so just follow the instructions and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Then there's also a second end assignment, and that's a Microsoft Word document, and you need Microsoft Office for that. Well, Microsoft Office is free for everyone to use with a Hans email address. So the nice thing to do is go to your Outlook, to your email. I might be able to show that.
Yeah, I think so.
So first so this is my email. Oh, every...
Privacy.
my privacy emails. At the top left of the corner, top left corner, you will see this menu. Then you could go to Office 365, and then you will see this. And then on the top right of the screen, you will have the Install Office button. You click on that, and you can click on the Office 365 apps, and it will download an installer to your computer.
Yeah.
Double click on the installer, follow the steps, and you will have Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything you need from the Office for free, as long as you have your Hans email address.
Yes. So the 2 things you need to download is the Adobe Creative Cloud and the Office package.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the student guide.
Yeah, because we need to explain to you what you need to do for Microsoft Word, I think, first, right?
Yes, so in the end we have 2 assignments. Every block you have 2 assignments for visual communication, and 1 is a conditional for your end grade. And as you can see Microsoft Word, the final assignment. So if you scroll
to page 9.
Yeah.
That's here.
Yeah, so what will you be making? If you zoom in a bit, I can read it as well.
You can read it as well. I will.
So yeah, you guys will make a lot of reports during this study, of course. And we want you guys to make a standard document with a good structure which you can use for every report you're going to make in the future. So it's like a basic standard document you will save on your computer, and every time you need to make a report, you start up that document and you start working in it, because then you already have a clear structure, you have heading styles, you have different kind of pages and section breaks. So in the end, what you're going to make, we've made a different kind of tutorial for this. It's very clear. You just have to follow every step.
Yeah, this is the video that you can watch. And then it's very easy, because after this, let me cancel this.
Commercials.
Commercials. So this is the Tools for Dummies Live ICM standard in Word. And it will show you every step that you need to take to make that document. And after watching this, you will have that document and you can just hand it in on Blackboard at the end of the block.
Yeah, so you won't get graded for it, but it's a conditional, so you need to hand it in to get the final grade, because otherwise you get a missed opportunity in Osiris.
Yeah, and it's very nice to have this, because after this you also have the opportunity to, it's quite mandatory to include an automatic table of contents, so you don't ever have to type it in manually.
This is very annoying.
Yeah, if you take these steps, then it will generate an automatic table of contents, and your documents will be ready and clickable as well.
And
so
it's
very
handy.
very modern techniques
In Word. Yeah, so we know Word is not the most exciting program to work in, but it's really handy and really necessary to do this in the very first block of the first year, because in the end, you will use it for every report you're going to write. So Word is one assignment.
And the infographic is the other, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
So let's go to the subject of the infographic. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the YouTube chat, and they will, if it are good questions, they will show up below here in screen, and then we will discuss them in a while.
Maybe one thing, maybe it's quite weird that the YouTube channel is called Tools for Dummies for
Visual
first
communications.
Years. Yeah, because we switched to a different name, because now it's part of the project, and last year it was part of Skills. So now it's visual communication, but the tutorial channel is called Tools for Dummies because the subject was named Tools.
Yeah.
So now we have a more fitting name for our subject.
Yeah, that's true, because in the end, the Adobe Creative Cloud is the tool that you're working with, and the tools, so the cameras and all the stuff that you will be using throughout the year.
Yeah. Okay, infographic. So Danny, what is an infographic?
Well, I can tell you. What is an infographic? Well, the infographic is essentially a visual representation of information or data in the form of a chart or diagram, like you see over here. So we have some typed text, there's information in there, and then we can make it visual. It's very nice. You will see it a lot in things like newspapers as well these days, because people don't like to read that
so much text.
No, not so much text anymore. They just want to get that information quickly, and infographics are a good way to do that. There are more reasons to use infographics. You can easily share them. They keep your attention. They show information in a compact and quick way. Because as you see, that's what I told you already, people want to spend less time on reading. And one of the most important things you will see in the middle of the screen below, people remember only 10% of what they hear, 20% of what they read, and 80% of what they see. And that's what the infographics are all about.
Yeah, and what is really interesting, 65% has a visual learning style. So it's way easier to remember things when they're visual.
Yeah, so you will, by tomorrow, have forgotten 90% of what we said, but you will remember that you saw this broiler chicken.
Yes! So as you can see, this is an example of an infographic. You see different kind of things going on here. You can see, of course, the first thing I see is the chicken. And this is an infographic about the meat industry, the chicken meat industry. And you can also find different kind of icons that stands for when the chick is born, how much they weigh, at what stage they're going to die for the food industry. So you can see a lot of icons, you see colors, you see a title, you see an introduction. And as you may notice, the subject is also, this example is kind of related to your own project subject, because you're going to talk about a food issue as well.
Yeah. And well, the food issue gives you a lot of information. You have to search for articles, for background information, for well, all kinds of things that give you background information about the food issue. And then with that information, you're going to make an infographic like we did. So in this case, the message was stop consuming broiler chicks and eat the biological chickens. Is it called biological?
I think so.
Oh well.
Because you can see a clear comparison here. You can see in the red, it's like the bad chicken. In Dutch we call it plofkip.
Yeah.
And at the green version is like the farm chicken. So
yeah, the happy chicken. They live longer, they have a happier life, and then after that they will end up on your plate. But at least they had a better life than the broiler chicken. So the message is eat more of the farm chicken if you would like to eat chicken. Well, to get this message clear to the viewer, Marloes had to look up a lot of background information, and that's what she visualized in these graphs that you see over here. So that's what Marloes just said. So she looked up how much the chickens weigh at a certain point of time. When they die, what's their
if they use antibiotics
are used. Yeah, so that's all kind of information that you can use to visualize, and that's what she did over here.
But yeah, the hard part of making an infographic is visualizing all the information you have, because in the end you have all different kind of articles and text, and it's very difficult to visualize a lot of text into a small graphic. So that's what we're going to do today, because we've made up a case, and the case is about cheese.
Cheese. Well, I don't know about you. How much cheese do you eat throughout the year?
Not that much, but yeah, it's a nice subject to talk about, I think.
Yeah. Who doesn't love cheese? Well, I don't like every kind of cheese. I mean, the blue cheese or the ones with
but that's not Dutch cheese, so that's okay. That's French cheese.
Ah, okay. Well, just this cheese with the little flag in it, I do like, and I also like a little cheese on my bread or in a toasty. Is it called toasty?
Yeah, sandwich, like toasted sandwich.
A toasted sandwich.
So let's take a look at the case, or shall we do some questions in between, Maurice? 3 questions.
3 questions.
I'm working on a Mac, and for some reason, every time I log in with the Hans account to Word, PowerPoint, etc., I see that my account.
Maybe our colleague can read the whole question. Anna. See that my account
doesn't allow editing on a Mac. How can this problem be solved?
Oh, that's a very technical question. On a Mac, and for some reason, every time I log in with the Hansa account to Word, that the account, so you just can't use.
Is there not like an accept button or try to edit button in PowerPoint or Word?
Maybe it's because of the file that's not editable.
Yeah, it can also be that the file is not editable. But if you come to class, we will take a look because you don't need Word right away.
Yeah.
So we can probably fix it. It's not a problem.
Yeah, and otherwise we have the technical, the ICT
Yeah, the ICT
people.
people that
Yeah.
can work that out for you.
So below, after you come in at the ZP11 building, then you have the front office, and then if you take a turn right into the hallway that's on the right, then you will find an ICT help desk, and they probably know how to fix this as well. But we will take a look.
Joyce is saying, so we have to use Word for reports.
I think it's mandatory, yeah.
Yeah, it's mandatory because it's one of the only programs that you can structure your report like in APA style, and we have like a big report. I think in the project on Blackboard it's called CMI.
Yeah, standard. How to do it or something like that. They will tell you about it during project, and they will explain how to make this. But we also give you this tutorial.
Yeah, and of course, like Word is free to use, so why not?
Yeah. So don't use OpenOffice.
No, don't use
also
OpenOffice.
because you have to work in groups, so you can't
share the documents.
No,
yeah.
not in an easy way, at least.
Where they'll find a student guide on Blackboard. So you have Blackboard, and then you under project you can see visual communication, and there you'll have all the information you need to know.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
For now. If you have any other questions, just put them in the chat.
Okay, so cheese. So we made up a case.
Yeah, and this is the case. And there's a lot of information in it. So we can scroll through it. So every year the Netherlands produces 650 million kilos of cheese. That's a lot. It's the 5th largest cheese producer in the world. Then there's some information of how much milk is used to produce cheese, how much cheese a Dutch person eats in comparison to other people around the world.
Yeah, we have the most popular cheese, young semi-cured cheese. Yeah. And then in the end we're talking about
the Dutch provinces that eat. So there's also information about that. And we put it in this. So this is not everything there is. So we can look up a lot more about this because we didn't include every province of this, but there could be data of that as well. So you could look that up and use it. But to keep it a bit compact, we just narrowed it down to this information.
Yeah. So the first thing you need to know or need to do is that you're going to scan the text. So we're going to transform the text to an infographic, and step 1 is filter information. So which information can we use best? And for an infographic to visualize text, what kind of information is handy to use?
Well, I would think about things that have
numbers.
Yeah, numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, numbers. Because with numbers we can make graphs, and graphs are, well, an important part of infographics. So let's see, what kind of numbers do we have in this text? A lot.
Yes.
A lot we can do with. So we have the 650 million kilos, the 5th largest, 10 liters, we see 10 kilos, the amounts of cheese in kilos. Also the kinds of cheese that we have, so we could visualize that. And that's also funny to know. So how many weeks it takes to make a certain kind of cheese.
Yeah.
And then of course we have places. So the Dutch provinces in which they eat the most cheese or the least cheese. So we have to think about what we can do, how we can visualize this.
Yeah, so we already narrowed it down, which is great, because now you have more structure in your... Okay, step 2. You're going to think about the purpose of an infographic, because every infographic needs to have a purpose.
Yeah, so what I can't talk English anymore. It's difficult at this time of day. What do you want the reader to do after they have read your infographic?
Yes.
Do you just want to inform them about the facts that you've just found? I want to convince them about something, like we did with the broiler chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, or do you want to entertain them, for instance, or activate them? Do they need to fill in maybe a form after that? So you can ask your readers to what kind of cheese they eat. It all comes together in the choices you make for the things you put in your infographic.
Yes.
So determine the purpose of the infographic. What don't you want to do? And then after that, who are the people that you would like to inform or let do something with your infographic?
Yeah.
So you can, well, we have made notes of a couple of target groups, maybe children or grown-ups, only the Dutch people, maybe tourists. It is important to notice because it will give you a direction in maybe the visual style of your infographic. You can imagine that an infographic made for children has a different look than one made for grown-ups, like you see in these two examples. So on the left, it's a history of toys infographic, and it's very playful and colorful.
Yeah.
While the one on the right is about Bitcoin. That's not a children's subject. So it's more seriously designed.
So if you take a look at our infographic, so we have a lot of the information about cheese. So what can be the purpose of the infographic? I think like informing is because we don't want people to eat more cheese or what kind of different kind of cheese, right?
No, it's just some fun background facts about the cheese that we have. We don't want to. No, we don't want to push anyone in any kind of direction to eat some kind of cheese. Well, we could because
we could if you want to.
Yeah, if you take the sustainability into account, cheese is not very sustainable to produce. Yeah. Because it takes a lot of milk, it takes a lot of cows. It's a very big industry. So if you want to push people into a direction in which they eat more maybe vegan cheese, then of course we could make an infographic of that.
Yeah.
But that's not what we chose today. We just want to give you some fun facts about the cheese consumption.
But you should think about your own food issue. What do you want to do? Do you want to convince? Do you want to activate?
Yeah.
Or just inform? And for you guys, it's a bit easier to pick a target group than for us, because this is just an example.
Yeah.
Okay, step 4, pick the questions and the answers that can help you tell a story. So which questions help you to create an interesting story and focus on your target group?
Yeah, and step 5 belongs to that as well. Find the questions and answers in the case, or in your own case as well, your own food issue. And in the data that you're going to find online about your subject. So the questions are the who, what, where, which, when, how, and how much.
Yeah.
And they lead to the basic forms of the infographic that we will show you in a while. One question of Tanne. Do we have to use the same source as this article about the cheese? What kind of source?
So we just made an example. You guys don't have to make an infographic about cheese. It's about your own food issue of the project. So probably in a project they will talk about this topic, and then you create your own infographic about that issue. So this is just an example. You don't have to remake or redo anything we do. But we just want to set an example for you guys how to get to work in different kind of steps.
Yeah, so you know the techniques behind the visuals that we're making, and the techniques behind coming to visuals from text to visual. So that's how we do this.
Yeah. So these questions are going to help you to create a story.
Yeah.
So we did that as well.
Yeah. But our topic is cheese. Your topic won't be cheese.
No.
Well, I think I don't expect it to be.
Next slide.
Yeah, the questions. Let's take a look. What kind of questions could we get out of our case? Starting with who, what, where, which, when, how, and how much. Well, these could be questions that we could take and answer. So how much cheese, how much cheese is consumed in the Netherlands in comparison to other countries. So we wrote that down.
Yeah.
So you can see that the Netherlands eat around, a typically Dutch
person eats
Person
19
eats 90
kilos
kilos.
a year.
Yeah, but the French are the bosses here.
Yeah.
They eat 26 kilos, and Chinese don't eat any cheese at all. So that's quite funny. Then how much cheese is eaten per province? That's something we could get out of it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What is the most popular cheese? That was also in the text. And how long do they need to mature? So we wrote that down because those are also numbers.
Yeah,
And
so
last
4
thing-
weeks, 16 to 18 weeks, and 7 to 8 months, but you can easily transform it into weeks, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last thing, how much cheese is produced in the Netherlands? So that's also, it's in Dutch, the text.
Oh,
but
sorry,
it's, it's
Million.
650 million kilograms a year. So those are question and answers that we can visualize in our infographic. But how do we do that? Well, I just mentioned the 7 basic forms of your infographic that belong to the questions that you ask. So on the top left, we have the profile infographic that starts with the who is it? So that's a who question. If you have a when question, then you could make a timeline. And when, and maybe also, when is the cheese done?
Yeah, when is the cheese done? So
After,
how long does it take to...
how long does it take? So
Yeah.
that's what we can make a timeline of. 4 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months, maybe. Then several kinds of graphs. So how much is it?
Yeah.
So we could see how much cheese is produced throughout the year, or how much cheese is eaten per province, or how much cheese is eaten throughout the world. So you could make a pie graph of it with the Netherlands over here, the Chinese not in there, and the French people over here, something like that.
Yeah, and then we have a map, so where is it?
Oh, we could use that for the provinces.
Yeah, because we talked about the Netherlands and the provinces. Yeah.
A scheme or a pointer, so we could, or a process, we could explain how cheese is made.
Yeah.
That's also a thing. So that's what you can do with that. So how does that work? How is cheese made? You could make a process. Or, what is what on a cheese?
Yeah.
the holes in
outside,
cheese.
the holes, yeah.
Or you could make a cow of this and then point to where the cheese is coming from.
Where the milk comes from. Yeah. So these are the 7 basic forms. So you can make an entire infographic as a profile. We call that a persona infographic.
Yeah.
But you can also all combine these kind of basic forms into one infographic. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's what we are going to do. Because we, of course, have all these kind of questions. So how much, again, how much, what, and how long, and how much. Oh, we have a lot of how much. But we can translate it into several kinds of these infographics and then combine them into one big infographic.
Yeah.
We also need a catchy title.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, when your audience takes a look at your infographic, they need to immediately understand what the infographic is about. So what the story is that you're going to tell. So always think from the audience's perspective, not from your own perspective, because you already know what you're going to make, but for the audience it's not that clear. They need to know what your infographic is about. And if you take infographic as your title, as a lot of people do.
We saw that a lot.
We saw that a lot. So
during
it's just
the past
infographic
years.
was just called infographic. Then they don't know what it is about.
That's not a title.
No, that's not a title. So please give your infographic a catchy title, as you see over here.
Yeah.
And below that, a short introduction text. So that's a small summary of what you're going to tell, what the story is about.
Yes. Then we have step 8, create an eye catcher for your infographic. So if you're going to make a good infographic, mostly they have one eye catcher that immediately draws your attention. And these are the most important images or image that attracts the reader attention.
Yeah, now let me go back to
Yeah, as
our
we saw with the chicken infographic, because the first thing I saw, or what the most of you guys will see, is the chicken. And of course, images that you make bigger in infographic are more important because they draw the attention towards it. So the eye catcher is not only to attract the reader's attention, but it's also to visualize what the infographic is going to be about.
yeah.
So of course, this infographic is about chickens.
Yeah, and that's just very obvious because this is a chicken.
Yeah.
And it sounds very stupid, but it's that easy. So if you just have to take in account what your graphic is about and make that the eye catcher.
Yes.
So let's take a look at...
So an eye catcher, a title, so not infographic, that's not a title, an introduction. Yeah, so I think now we're ready to take a look at what we actually created.
Yeah, so once everything comes together, it could look like something...
like this.
Yeah, like this, yeah.
So we've made a title, The Netherlands, the King of Cheese.
Yeah, so that's what you see on top over here in the top left corner.
And then we have a short introduction. So what is a typical Dutch lunch?
Yep.
A sandwich with cheese. So cheese is a big part of the Dutch culture. However, is the Netherlands really the king of cheese? So we would like to find out if they really eat a lot of cheese, if they produce a lot of cheese.
It is sad, but no, I mean it's not sad, but it is sad.
Yeah.
People say about the Netherlands
that we cheeseheads.
Yeah, that we are cheeseheads and that we eat a lot of cheese. But is that really the case? So that's what we found out by making this infographic. We looked it up. We took a look at the numbers and then visualize that into this infographic. So maybe we can take another look at the infographic. Clearly our eye catcher is the big map of the Netherlands with
in cheese.
Yeah, with a cheese structure. So that's also funny to do. So yeah, you could come up with everything, but just make sure that your visualization is in that graphic style of the subject. So because we are talking about cheese, we thought it was a funny idea to make a map of the Netherlands in cheese. So that's how you need to, to try to think like that. Try to think like how we did that in this infographic.
Yeah, and in we can see 3 different kind of basic forms of infographic. Under the title we have what's the most popular cheese. So you can see 1. Yeah, it's kind of small, but it's like young cheese, 2 semi-cured, and 3 old cheese.
Yeah, but to what? Well, it's a bit difficult to see in this form, but this is essentially the timeline.
Yeah, because underneath you can see young cheese has to mature for 4 weeks. Then we have 18 weeks, and then 32 weeks. So we made a combination of different kind of data into one graph.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top, of course, you can see the cow because the cheese is made from milk. So you need a liter of milk for 1 kilo of cheese.
So that's also a little visual. So it's all about combining a visual. Every time you combine a visual with a little text. So that's what infographics making is all about. So the combination of visuals and text. Actually, this cow is one of our advanced work class workshop exercises. So if you want to know how to make this cow, come to the 3rd workshop. Yeah,
and then we see the graph of cheese consumption. So we thought what would be a fun way to visualize the different countries in the combination of cheese.
Yeah, so that's why they have different flags.
Yeah, because it's also a big part of the Dutch culture when you go to a birthday party. You have a lot of these cheeses with those little flags. So hopefully you will experience that yourself. Yeah, so I think it's really obvious, it speaks for itself. So the Netherlands eat 19 kilos of cheese per year. And we can visualize, you can see that the information is visualized into the graph. And
yeah,
then
we didn't do it in order. We could also
No,
do
yeah.
do that. So the Chinese all the way at the front or all the way at the back, and then
that will be even better, but we
the-
got we didn't have time for that.
it's just a little detail. But that's also a choice that you can make.
Yeah, and then we have the eye catcher, of course, and that's the graph of the different kind of where do they eat the most cheese and where the least. So the
So
biggest flag
Friesland.
is where they eat a lot of cheese, and in Brabant they eat the least.
Yeah. So we don't have the. That's also an idea, right? So we could also have made flags with each province flag in there, and then have the 12 provinces of the Netherlands in here, each with their own flag, and then say number 1, number 2, 3, 4, up to all the way up to 12. But we don't have the data in this one. But that's also a thing that you could do.
Yeah. So in the end, if you deliver your infographic, of course we're going to grade it. So we're not going to grade it if it's beautiful or in like, how do you say that?
No, because that's subjective.
Yeah, it's really subjective. We're only going to take a look at the techniques you use in Illustrator. And of course, if the layout is good, if we can read it properly, if you used a catchy title. So if we take a look at the student guide, we can check if this infographic passed the test for a good infographic. Because in the rubric, in the student guide on Blackboard, you can find a checklist of the content of a good infographic.
Yeah, so that's over here.
Switch.
Do you have it on screen?
One question.
Oh, one question.
Where can I find the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we will post it afterwards, after this session on Blackboard as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at how we made it.
Yeah, so checklist for the contents of your infographic. So let's check if we pass the test with our infographic. So the first thing is the main subject is immediately visible. The title and introduction are clear, there's a focus on the core message, and the infographic is understandable for the target group reader. Do we have this?
Yeah,
Let's
well,
take a look.
the main subject is immediately visible. Well, we saw the. Well, maybe I can. Can I make a split screen of this? Yes, I can.
Ah, yeah, that's
Let me put this on the side and our infographic next to it, so we can take a look. So that might be better. Okay, so the main subject is immediately visible. Well, what do you think this?
I think so. I think it's
this,
pretty clear. It's about cheese.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. Title and introduction. Do we have that? Well, we have a title, the Netherlands, the king of cheese with a question mark, and an introduction text. So we have that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a focus on the core message?
Yeah, we want to find out if the Netherlands is really the king of cheese.
Yeah. So that's why we made all these graphs so we could compare and see how much cheese is eaten where and where and where. So okay. That's okay. The infographic is understandable for the target group reader. Well, we would have to ask our viewers if they understand this infographic. But I think
is it clear?
Is it clear?
I think so. We
it
try to.
is. It's pretty obvious what this is all about, right?
Yeah.
Straightforward.
Okay, check.
Now, so first part is okay. Next thing, content is well visualized using only relevant and functional visuals. So is there anything in this infographic that doesn't have anything to do with cheese or a function? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
So that's okay. Yeah, and of course this is very important. If you're making use of any pre-made graphics, we didn't, we made everything ourselves. But if you do it, like icons, then the visual style, it needs to be one nice
uniform
uniform
style.
design. So don't mix up several styles of graphics. So that in our case that might be a Dutch map with a big black border around it and cheeses without the black borders, or something that is very shiny and with a gradient with a more straightforward graphics. So don't mix them up. Make sure that everything fits nicely together, like you see over here.
Yes, okay, I think that one is checked as well. Yep. 3, there's a clear story with the beginning, middle and end, or the information presented has a clear coherence. I think we have, like the reading direction is quite clear.
Yeah, from top to bottom.
Yeah, from top to bottom. At the end, we have a small conclusion as well, because there we answer the question that is said in the title. It's very small, but it is there. And
it's in Dutch, but what it says is that after we've seen these graphics, we came to the conclusion that the Netherlands are actually not really the kings of cheese, because we're just, we eat a lot of it, but we're just not the #1 country. That's still up to the French.
yeah.
So the French would be the kings of cheese, because they have, well, very different kinds of cheese, a lot more than we do over here, and they eat a lot of it as well. Even the Germans eat more cheese than we do.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then the structure, then of course the catchy, attention-grabbing title.
Yep.
We have an introduction, short intro text.
That was the one over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, and in general the graphic is logical for the reader and the information is presented and told in an understandable way. Well, we think that's the case. You can also see that we leave a little room, some white room, well it's blue over here, between the several parts, so you can see what belongs together and what is important. So please do that as well. Leave some white space between the several parts of your infographic so you can see what belongs to what. And also leave some space. Well, this is more. Well, to the border of your paper, and essentially, because if you need to print this out, the things could fall off the paper if it's too close to the border. So please take that into account as well.
Yes. Then we have 4. A real.
Sorry.
5.
Yeah.
4. Yeah. A real infographic is creates a good balance between image and text. And then it says underneath 2 company logos and the rest text is not an infographic. That's a flyer. So as you can see, we've used a bit of text, not too much, to support the visuals. So it's only the necessary information you need to know to get the story.
Yeah, because if you only put a visual in there, people might not directly understand what it is. So we can't just put in these 3 cheeses and then leave it like that, because no one would know what it is. We need to add the text as well to tell them what this was about. Also this part, the cheese consumption. You wouldn't know what this was about if we only saw the cheese blocks with the flag in it.
Yeah.
What does that mean? So you need to add the text as well.
But on the other hand, you can see we now visualize the flags of the country, so you don't have to insert the Netherlands or France or Germany in text above those cheese blocks, because it's really obvious. So also leave text out that you don't need.
Yeah.
But
you could end up searching for the flags that we have. It might be difficult if there's a flag that you don't know what it is, so you don't know what the country is.
Depends on your target group as well.
Okay, so that's great as well. The clear corners, good balance between image and text. So that's what we have done. One or more eye catchers are present. That's this, the big map of cheese. And the last thing, the purpose of the infographic is clear. So, example, the goal is to have the reader to do something after reading it. Well, we just wanted to inform people, but if we wanted to convince you to eat less real milk cheese, then and we wanted to have you eat more vegan cheese, then of course there would be a call to action, as it is called in this infographic as well. Something that you want the reader to do after they've read your infographic. So maybe go to a website for more information or something like that.
Yeah, so that is the checklist for the infographic, and I think we've passed. Should we take a look at the rubric of the infographic, the technical parts as well?
Yeah, because this is just a checklist for yourself, and then in the grading we go into, well, more how nicely you've done that in a technical way. So that's all about things like, are these really nice shapes? Isn't anything deformed? Did you make use of nice fonts? to give it a nice look. Did you make use of the white space that we just talked about? Is there a nice color scheme used?
Yeah.
All those kind of things you will find in this grading rubric, so you can see what kind of things we will give you points for.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit intimidating at the start when you look at the rubric, but there are really obvious things that you, if you read it, maybe if you don't know what something means, you can always come to class and we can always show it to you in Illustrator. And hopefully when you start working in Illustrator, you find out things that are said in the rubric. So you probably find out one way or the other.
Yeah, because the words that we use here, things like Pathfinder, Shape Builder, those are all techniques that you will learn.
Yeah.
Well, either during the workshops or in a while when we show you how to make your first cheese block.
Yes. So, are there any questions in between? Nice infographic. Who doesn't love cheese? Yeah. Thank you, Michiel.
Michiel van. Oh, it's really Michiel. I didn't know he had the time to watch. I thought you needed to go to work, Michiel.
Any other questions, or that was it? Okay, then it was probably very clear. And also, I think this live stream is going to be recorded and also saved up on our YouTube channel, so you can always
you can watch it back.
Watch it back. So now we're going to start in Illustrator. What we're going to do today, Danny?
Yes.
Tell us.
Well, let me go back to the PowerPoint, because I think I have the first step over here.
Yeah. So what we did for you guys, because we're going to do different kind of workshops, and we're going to show you real fast, or not that fast, but we're going to explain this right now in the live stream.
Yeah.
The first steps of making a cheese block with a flag, because that is really the basic graph that we use in our infographic, and even the colors and the shape of the cheese is reused in the infographic all over. So that's what we're going to do right now in the live stream, and in the first beginner workshop we explain all the tools, the workspace, what you can do in Illustrator, we are going to explain different kind of tools, your toolbar, but right now it's just an introduction of how you can create those graphics.
Yeah, and it might very well be that after this you just know enough how to work on your own infographic.
Yeah. Or you don't, that can also be a possibility. Oh, question. When I typed Adobe Creative Cloud, it said it costs 60 euros a year. Should we buy the program? Then it's probably only for Illustrator, or only one application. Because normally when you go to SurfSpot, then type in Students Adobe Creative Cloud. And when you then buy that Student Adobe Creative Cloud, you have the full cloud, because every block we're going to work with a different program. So this block is Illustrator. Next block we're going to work with photography, so it's Lightroom and Photoshop. In the third block, video, so you need Premiere Pro. So you really need the full package and not only Illustrator.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not 60 euros a year. It's 60 euros a month if you don't do it through SurfSpot. So please do it through SurfSpot, so you are sure that you have all the apps that you need throughout this year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the first exercise, the thing that we're going to make today. And that will also be repeated in the first workshop. And it's this Dutch snack,
flag.
the piece of cheese
the Dutch snack.
and the Dutch flag. It's an exercise consists out of a couple of these, well, how did we call them? Exercise cards,
yeah.
Something like that. And it will give you the steps that you need to take to make such a thing, but it doesn't explain everything. So there are some techniques that we would like to show you in how Illustrator works. So we start very easily with the Dutch flag, and as you can already see, it just consists out of two shapes in essentially.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, it's two rectangles, and then we copy the rectangles. So we have three rectangles over here. Then we combine the rectangles, and we give, well, two of them a different color, namely the red, white, and blue of the Dutch flag. Then afterwards, we round up the corners and give the flagpole this brown color, and done is your flag. So let's take a look at how we can make that. If we're going,
Should I make the flag and you the,
yeah, of course,
the block of cheese?
please take my computer.
So Illustrator is the orange icon, and I really love it because you can almost make everything you want in Illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
So all the basics, you can also just Google it, because now we're really going to focus on the graphs we're going to make. So I'm just going to create a new canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, A4 is fine, right?
Yeah, and A4, if we could get our screen, Maurice.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, A4 is just the standard document setup.
So on the left side, you have all of your tools.
Let's maximize that.
Yeah. On the left side, you have all of your tools. We're going to explain it in the beginner workshop, or do you want to explain it right now?
Well, yeah, take them through the most important ones so they can start right away.
Yeah, so the most important one is this little icon right here. It's the black arrow, it's the selection tool. With the direct selection tool, you can only select parts of your graphic, or how do you call them?
Yeah, so let's make a quick rectangle. So this might be a rectangle, and then with the direct selection tool, you can just select your rectangle and move it anywhere around the space. And then with the direct selection tool, you can select a so-called anchor point, so one of the corners over here, and then you can move that and make different shapes with it. Yeah. See, so that's the difference between the white and the black rectangle. So if you've made a change to this, then always go back to the black rectangle, so you can see that the selection border is around again, then you can move the whole thing again. So that's how it works.
Yeah. So you always go back to the selection tool to move objects.
Yeah.
So let's delete this one. Another one, of course, is the type tool. So with the type tool, you can just click and you can just type hello. If you want to change the size and the fonts, you can select your text, and on your top menu, you can find different kind of fonts.
Yeah. If you don't see a top menu, it could be that your workspace is different than ours.
Yeah.
So for our tutorials, it's nice to first go into the window menu, then to workspace, and then change it into Essentials Classic. And it will give you the nice bar at the top as well.
Yes. So in here you can change the size, and most of the time you have different kind of bold or other different kind of...
Yeah, italic, bold, regular,
italic, yeah.
Depending on the types that the fonts that you installed. You can also find new fonts by going to the Adobe Creative Cloud app. And then on the left of the screen, you'll see
fonts.
The fonts. And then you can go to more fonts. Bladeren in meer lettertypen, it says. And then it will take you to the Adobe Fonts website.
Yeah, first you have to sign in, but then you see the different kind of fonts you can download. Oh, here it is already.
No,
okay.
I was signed in.
Okay.
And they have a lot. It's very nice, a very nice collection of fonts. So please take a look at that to find something that fits your design.
Yeah. Okay, so text, again, delete. Then we have different kind of shapes. So you have a rectangle tool. Most of the time when you start up, you can only see the rectangle tool, but you have to right-click on the rectangle, and then you see different kind of other shapes. So you have the rounded rectangle, so with rounded corners. You have the ellipse tool to make a circle, the polygon tool, the star tool, and the flare tool. So one of the things that our people are amazed if I tell them that the star tool can also produce triangles.
Triangles, yeah.
So if you drag the shape, you can
It's a very
also
nice star.
yeah, it's a very nice star. You can also select how many corners you would like to have with your keyboard.
Yeah, the up and down
the
arrows.
up and down arrows, yeah.
Yeah, so hold down your, don't let loose of your mouse button, but before you release your mouse button, press up or down and you will see that you get more or less spikes all the way back to
Yeah.
a rectangle. And then if you hold down shift, then you will see it will set it straight up.
Oh.
Oh, you wanted to do it
Star.
again? Yeah, so if you,
Yeah, for the
yeah,
triangle
you can
doesn't
turn it
matter.
around, but then if you hold down shift, you can see that it will place it like this, and then you can release your mouse button and it will give you this nice rectangle.
So if you want to rotate your triangle, for example, you always have to get back to the selection tool.
Yeah.
And you can see once you hover over the corners, you can just hold. And also with shift, you have equal
Degrees.
degrees. Because
Yes.
otherwise you just have this, and this is very handy
Yeah.
for,
So shift is
rotating.
one of your best friends within Illustrator.
yes. Yeah, so we just do the
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think with these tools we can make our first block of cheese, or the flag.
flag. So for the flag, we need to have 3 rectangles, right?
Yeah.
So here's the rectangle tool. I'm just going to make one. And I'm going to set it, because normally when you drag a shape, it always has a white fill and a black stroke.
Yeah.
It looks a bit like this. Maybe I can make it a bit thinner. Something like this
Mm-hmm.
will do.
Nice.
So now we have only one rectangle, we need to have 3. But we do need to have the equal shape as the previous rectangle. So how can we do that then? With Alt. Because you can copy shapes and texts with Alt. And it's very handy because I use it all the time. You can just
Me too.
select the shape, hold Alt or Option on Mac, and then you can just click and drag a new shape out of the previous shape. And then when you're done, you can just release.
Yeah, you see that it nicely snaps to the other one as well. So it's a
Yeah.
bit of magnetic.
So we need another one. So hold Alt, then click on the shape, drag, and place it underneath the second shape. Really easy.
Mm-hmm. This is nice.
Then we need, let's take a look at the assignment cards. Okay, so one shape, we have 3 shapes, and now we need a pole. So let's make that a pole.
You can't have a flag without a pole.
No, so something like this would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we have the right shapes. I think now we're going to fill in the colors. No, first we're going to join the 4 shapes by bringing the shapes together and snap the anchor points to each other.
Yeah, so you can just drag a selection box around the 3 rectangles that you have over there, and then you can
Group it.
group it.
Because now it's 1 unit, and if
Mhm.
you don't group it, you have only loose elements. So select everything, just drag a frame around it, right click, group.
And then you can drag them around again and snap them to the pole.
Boop.
Okay, now change the colors of 2 of them. Well, this is a little thing because now you cannot choose, well, one of the rectangles to change the color of. Well, there's a thing for that. You can, yeah, you see that if you now change the color, it will change the color of the whole group. So either you could ungroup this for a while, or you could double click on it, and then it will go into the group. And you can see that on top of the screen, because you will see that it will give you an extra layer on top of the screen, and it will say layer and group over there. And that's how you know that you are into the group. And now you can select the top rectangle and give that the red color of the flag. And I have inserted the RGB colors for the flags as well into the assignment card. So let's take a look at that. And you can see that red has this hash code, like AE1C28. Oh yeah, it's a bit stupid, you cannot copy it, but we will fill it in.
So how do you get this go to this code? You select the upper rectangle, then over here you can double click in the fill, because right here you can see your fill and your stroke, and at the upper menu as well. So we're going to double click, and here you can find a place where you can enter the code.
Yeah, it was very specific.
Yeah.
I already forgot what it was. AE1C28. These are actually the real colors as our Ministry of Flags, it is something like that, has officially given to the Dutch flag. So it's fun to use. Oh, it didn't work.
AE1
yeah.
C28, right? Yes.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, great.
Then for the blue, of course. So let's check what it was about again. That one was 2146 8B 21.
Yeah, 21468B 21468B.
We're such a good team. Huh.
Okay, well, if you see this happening like we do, then you know how to, well, do it again. Just fill it in again.
21.
Might be a little bug.
216. What was it again?
Oh.
Do you still remember?
21648B. I hope something like that. It will turn up blue.
Yes.
Okay.
And then for the pole, we can
just
choose
a
random
brown or
brownish.
white or gray color, whatever you like. But I chose a little brown because it is made of wood, the little satéprikker.
Satéprikker, the little stick in the
That's
cheese.
how it's called in Dutch, satéprikkertje.
But now you can see, you still see that we have some strokes.
And the strokes are ugly.
Yes.
Strokes are ugly. Try to prevent using strokes by any means.
Yeah, because we can see that a lot also in the first year's designs. They use a lot of strokes, but it looks way better if you only use a fill color.
Yeah, because our imagination fills in the border around the color. So the contrast between fore and background will give you this imaginary border that's much nicer to see. Unless, of course, you would want to make an infographic that's completely in a cartoony style, then, of course, you can make use of borders, but usually it's better without. Okay, show them how you remove the border.
Yeah, just select the flag, and then on top you can see the stroke is still black. So then we're going to remove it with the first option. So you can click none for stroke. And now if you zoom in, you can see that it's removed and it already looks way better. So we're going to do that for the pole as well. So we're going to remove the stroke, none.
Nice.
Wow. Okay, what's the next step following the cards?
I think rounding up the corners.
And make the pole a bit thinner. Yeah, round the edges. Yes.
Yeah, because we just showed you, you can make a rectangle with rounded corners, but there's a nice little trick to make the corners on a rectangle that doesn't have rounded corners.
Yeah.
Take a look at well, the corners of this rectangle with sharp corners, and you see these little blue dots. And what you can do is, well, go with your mouse to those blue dots and then drag them to the inside of the rectangle and see what happens.
So you can do that with the selection tool, and with the direct selection tool you can select only parts of the shape, because right now when I
that's a good comment.
When I do this, all the edges are going to be rounded.
Yeah.
But for example, if you don't want to have the ends rounded as well, then you can go to the direct selection tool, zoom in, because then you can see it better. You can click once.
Once on one of the corner anchor points, I think.
Yeah, and then you can see now only this side is
that's
rounded.
Also nice.
So we can do this side as well. We can select the other one with Shift, and then we can just drag it down.
Yeah, so if you want to make a selection of two of them, first click on one anchor point, then hold down Shift on your keyboard, and then click on another anchor point, and then you will have selected the two of them, and then you can make them round, and then you see at the bottom of the flag that those are still sharp corners.
Yeah. So we will place it
at the bottom of the pole, I mean.
Let's take a look at the example. Yeah, you can see that the pole is behind the flag.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to do that as well. And there are different kind of ways to do that. Because in Illustrator we're working with different layers. So you can put your elements on different layers, but you also have an option that you can place something in the background. So we're going to select the pole. We're going to right click. You have an arrange option, and we're going to send to back. And now it's on the background.
And that's because with the real Dutch little flags, it's made of paper and it's wrapped around the pole.
Yeah. Let's make this a bit shorter. Beautiful.
Yeah, this is great.
In our infographic, you can see that we have an effect on the flag. Do you want to do that now or after the cheese block?
Well, we could do it now. It's not difficult.
No, it's not difficult.
Just select the group. Go into Effects, Menu Effects, and then you will see Distort. I think it was under Distort.
No, I think it's in Object and Envelope Distort. Not on the effect.
Oh,
or
then you have because I did it with the effects. And
okay.
Then distort and then
Let's
wave.
do that. Distort.
Yeah,
so there are.
So there are more than one ways to roam. The warp. Oh, yeah, it was warp.
Oh, warp. Yeah.
Warp and then wave. And then you can choose what kind of wave it needs to be, because now you see that it's still an.
Yeah, I think I know why this is happening. Because it's a group, but it's not merged into a shape. So this is a bit more advanced. So now we're going to select the group. Then we're going to go to Object, and we're going to expand it. So when you expand it, it will be transformed into one solid shape. So expand, so nothing happens, that's okay. Then we're going to go back to Effects, Warp, Wave. Huh?
Yeah, choose the style. I think it was a different style of wave. Choose the wave style. And then the...
Rise.
What kind of... Okay, so this is funny. I forgot. Flag. Just flag.
Oh, flag. Sorry. Yeah.
Just choose flag. So no need to do the extra thing that Marloes did.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just going to make it difficult for you guys.
You can just select the group and then choose the wave effect, and then it will look like this. So this is nice.
Sometimes we get confused as well because there are so many options in Illustrator on how to do things. So if you find your own way, also fine.
Also fine, yeah.
So again, if you want to make something wavy, effects, warp, and then a flag, and then not the normal option, but again, flag.
Yeah.
Okay, we made a flag. Yay!
Nice. Okay, well, there's not that much time left, so let's quickly go to the block of cheese, because that's the next thing. Oh, this one. But it's not that difficult as well, because what do we see? Just two shapes. So there's the rectangle, the rectangle that we just used, and here's the triangle that Malou showed you a while ago. And we're going to transform that with the direct selection tool, so it will be a 3D block of cheese. So let me show you how you do that in Illustrator. So let's put the flag aside for a while. Let's make a new layer over here in the Layers panel. If you don't see the Layers panel, you can always find it back on the window, and then Layers. And then you will see it end up over here. Let me rename this into flag. Let's make a new layer that's called cheese.
Cheese.
And then make the two shapes again. So first a rectangle. There we go. Okay, it's brown. That's an old cheese. So let's give it a
Very
nice
old.
yellow color. Maybe something like this. Yeah, that's a bit more fresh. And then the star tool to make our triangle there. And then what we wanted to do is give it a bit of a perspective, so it will look like this. So that's where the direct selection tool comes in. So go to the direct selection tool, click on the top anchor point, and then drag it down. Oh, that's funny. It makes a totally different shape than I expected. Oh, that's because it added 2 extra anchor points. So if you see that happening, you know something. Okay, let's make a new one. Star tool. Oh, yeah, I understand now. If you do the rectangle with the triangle with the star tool, it will give you extra anchor points because it was a star. Well, then there's also the polygon tool. The polygon tool will give you this, and then I think if I turn down into
that's better. Yeah.
this one, it will.
But this
only
is a
have
new option.
Yeah.
Because previously it was only like 3 anchor points, but now
With the star.
Yeah.
So with every update of Illustrator, new functions come in and things change. But it's fine that we see this together with you now, because this one has only 3 of them. So now I can click on the anchor point on top of this, drag it down, and then you will see that it will give us this perspective. I think this will be close to what I did with the other one. Let's delete this one, and now I can bring this down over here, make it a bit bigger. So you can also resize things by holding down Shift. If you don't hold down Shift, you can see that it will deform. So always hold down Shift, and it will leave the shape as is, but only make it bigger or smaller. Then before you release the Shift, release your mouse button, and it will be a bit bigger. Now let's line this up with that one. So make this a bit darker, because this is another side of the block of cheese.
Shadow side.
It's in the shadow side. And then bring the anchor point to the corner of this one, and the other anchor point to this corner. And then bring this one over here, and this one over, well, somewhere over here. I'm not. Yeah, I think this will do the trick. Now, and then the last thing, our block of cheese has some holes in it. We're going to, for this first thing, take the easy route and then make some circles, some ellipses, maybe a bit in perspective as well. Something like this, so you have to make them a bit flatter than they would normally be. Make them a bit darker as well. There. And then just copy them over and give your cheese a nice couple of holes in them. maybe one a bit bigger, there. And then we could also do this to the side, of course. Maybe over here, and then make this a bit darker again. And then do it a bit like this, there. So it will get this perspective again. There. Another one over here. And done is our block of cheese. And the last thing we need to do is put the little flag into the cheese. So if I would bring this up over to that side as well, we can group this again. So select everything of the flag, the pole and the flag itself, group it, bring it over here, and then you will see it will end up behind the cheese. Well, you now know the techniques. We can either drag this a layer to the top, or, of course, if these were on the same layer, we could choose send to background again. We'll make the flag a little smaller and put it into the cheese, and done is our snack.
So cute.
Yeah, it's cute. And you can see it ended up in our infographic there on the bottom.
Yeah. So of course you guys don't have to make cheese for your infographic, but the techniques we used you can also use for different kind of elements in your infographic. So with those exercises we want you guys to practice with the tools, the most important tools. And if you think right now, oh my god, I'm like so lost in Illustrator, please come to the beginner course. If you think, I got this, then come to the medium or the advanced.
Yeah, and of course you can, this was very quickly. If you just opened up Illustrator and you couldn't follow us, just rewind this after, because after this it will end up on YouTube, and in your own time you can just take your own time to go through the steps again, and then you will see what we did, and then just repeat what we did, and you know the techniques behind this. So this is a block of cheese, but you can make anything with this technique as long as you use your own imagination as well.
Yeah, and practice, 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 practice in these programs, because that will help you.
Yeah, it's learning by doing. Learning by doing. You can only learn this when you work with it a lot.
Final questions. Is it important what year the cloud is? If you buy the Adobe Creative Cloud in Surfspot, you probably, you will have the 2021 version. Yeah,
you will always end up with the 2021 version. There is an option within the installation to choose older versions of the app, but try to just install the 2021 version.
Yeah, and it's kind of important because the tools we use are not in, I think maybe in 2018 versions, for example.
No. What you saw, what I did with the polygon tool and the star tool to make a triangle, that might have changed between versions. So that's why,
Yeah, the Creative Cloud is not working on my laptop. Doesn't have the specific requirements, but I do have it on my computer. Blah 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 blah. So we see this problem a lot on first-year students. But before you registered for the study, we had some specific requirements for your computer, because you need a computer that is strong enough to run those programs.
Yeah. So
there's another question behind this.
Yeah.
But you can read it over there. It was, will there be computers in class, or can I just take notes and work from home?
Yeah, well, we only have 2 iMacs in the Media Lab that you could work on, so it is a possibility, but you have to ask for an account at the CMI Media Desk, so you will have access to that computer. But the thing is, we cannot guarantee that you will have those computers to your use.
Yeah,
because
you can make a reservation for them.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing. That's why it's so important to have your own computer. Any other questions?
Nothing?
We're through them.
Oh my god.
Well, it's nice because time is also up as well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you find this a fun way to learn Illustrator. Just take a look at it yourself. You will see that the more you work with it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
We took a lot of time to learn this as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we see you in the first workshop, maybe in one of the other workshops. In the meantime, you could add us on Instagram, Tools for Dummies, because we also we share the work that you make on Instagram, so you can be inspired by each other's work, and yeah, we will have a little wall of fame over there to build.
Yeah, so thank you all for watching, and come to the workshops, take a look at Blackboard, and install Adobe Creative Cloud.
See you next time.
Bye bye.